Never underestimate a curious black cat. While his human was away, Onyx discovered a beautiful succulent plant and decided it deserved a much closer inspection. Let's just say the plant didn't survive the encounter. This is what Onyx is capable of. In this video, you'll also see a family of marmosets stopping by for a visit. They looked incredibly hungry, so it was time to bring out one of their favorite treats before they continued their journey through the forest. With everything ready, it was finally time to begin our morning walk. As always, Onyx stepped outside, full of curiosity, eager to explore every corner and discover what new adventure was waiting just beyond the door. This is the part of our walk that worries me the most. The tall grass and dense vegetation make it the perfect place for snakes to hide, especially on warm days. While Onyx is busy exploring every scent and sound, I'm constantly scanning the ground and the surrounding area. Every step requires extra attention, because one hidden snake could turn our peaceful morning adventure into a dangerous situation. Keeping Onyx safe is always my #1 priority. Because we started our walk a little later than usual, the forest felt much quieter. Most of the birds had already finished their busy morning routines, and only a few could still be heard singing in the distance. Onyx kept looking up into the trees, hoping to spot one, but the usual excitement simply wasn't there. Even so, he never stopped exploring, always convinced that the next surprise could be waiting just a few steps ahead. We continued our walk through the quiet trails, taking our time to enjoy the peaceful morning. Onyx stopped every few steps to investigate a new scent, carefully inspecting bushes, tree roots, and patches of grass. Even without many birds around, his curiosity never faded. Every corner seemed to hold a new mystery, and he explored each one with patience and confidence. Little by little, we made our way toward one of his favorite places, the bamboo forest. For a moment, I was sure Onyx was about to head straight into the bamboo forest, just like he usually does. He slowed down, looked toward the entrance, and even seemed ready to step inside. But at the very last second, he changed his mind. Without any warning, he turned around and walked in a completely different direction. With Onyx, you can never predict what's going to happen next. And that's exactly what makes every walk feel like a brand new adventure. A few moments later, Onyx spotted something unusual on the ground. A single bird feather. He immediately walked over to investigate, carefully sniffing it from every angle. To him, it wasn't just a feather. It was a clue left behind by one of the birds that had passed through earlier that morning. His hunting instincts quickly took over, and for a few moments, that tiny feather became the most interesting discovery of our entire walk. As we continued our walk, some familiar visitors finally appeared. A family of marmosets quietly made their way through the trees, stopping nearby to see if we had brought their favorite treat. They looked especially hungry that morning, carefully watching every movement while waiting patiently. Seeing them has become one of the most special moments of our walks. and Onyx never takes his eyes off them, fascinated by every jump and every sound they make. The marmoset is a small primate native to South America and a member of the Calatricidae family. Despite its tiny size, it's incredibly agile, moving effortlessly through the treetops with speed and precision. Curious, intelligent, and highly social, these remarkable animals spend much of their day searching for fruit, insects, tree sap, and flowers. Watching them leap gracefully from branch to branch is always one of the highlights of our morning walks. Although the birds were nowhere to be seen that morning, we weren't completely alone. Instead, we were greeted by a familiar family of marmosets. They moved gracefully through the trees, watching us from a safe distance, as if they already knew we might have something for them. Even without the usual chorus of birds, their unexpected visit made this part of our walk just as special and unforgettable. Little by little, we left the peaceful green forest behind and made our way back toward the apartment buildings. The sounds of nature slowly faded, replaced by the familiar sights and noises of the neighborhood. Even though the adventure was coming to an end, Onyx wasn't ready to stop exploring. He continued to sniff every corner, carefully inspecting anything that caught his attention, proving that for a curious black cat, every path holds the promise of one last discovery. Back in the residential area, the adventure wasn't over yet. The quiet forest gave way to parked cars, passing neighbors, and other pets enjoying the morning. For Onyx, every new sight, scent, and sound was another opportunity to investigate. He carefully watched people walking by, sniffed around the parked cars, and stayed alert to every movement. It was a completely different environment, but just as exciting through the eyes of a curious black cat. The forest may have been behind us, but Onyx's adventure was far from over. Now, a whole new world of scents surrounded him. The smell of parked cars, passing people, friendly dogs, and other neighborhood cats filled the air. Each new scent told a different story, and Onyx carefully stopped to investigate every one of them. For a cat, exploring isn't just about what they see. It's about discovering the world through their incredible sense of smell. During this part of our walk, keeping Onyx on his leash was especially important. We were surrounded by cars, people, bicycles, and other pets, making the environment much more unpredictable than the quiet forest. The leash allowed him to explore safely, while giving me enough control to react quickly if something unexpected happened. It gave Onyx the freedom to satisfy his curiosity without putting his safety at risk, which is always my top priority. As we approached the main vehicle entrance, I became even more alert. Cars could enter or leave at any moment, making this one of the busiest parts of our route. Onyx was still eager to explore every new scent, but this was a place where curiosity had to be balanced with caution. We slowed down, stayed close together, and crossed the area carefully before continuing the rest of our morning adventure. At last, we reached the main pedestrian entrance. This is where our outdoor adventure usually comes to an end. Even after such a long walk, Onyx wasn't ready to head home just yet. He paused to sniff the ground one last time, carefully watching everyone coming and going through the entrance. It was as if he wanted to make sure he hadn't missed a single detail before calling it a day. By now, Onyx could tell our adventure was almost over. As we got closer to the entrance, his pace slowed, and he kept looking around as if he wanted to make every last moment count. He stopped to sniff a few more places and took one final look at everything around him. Even without saying a word, it felt like he knew our morning walk was coming to an end, and he wasn't quite ready to say goodbye to the adventure. Onyx has his own way of protesting when he doesn't want the adventure to end. Instead of walking home, he simply sits down and refuses to move. No matter how much I encourage him, he stays exactly where he is, quietly making his point. It's his funny way of saying, "I'm not ready to go back yet." Sometimes I think he wishes our morning walks could last forever. At that point, I knew there was only one way to get him home. Since Onyx had completely refused to walk, I gently picked him up and carried him in my arms. He looked perfectly comfortable, almost as if this had been his plan from the very beginning. Sometimes I wonder if he sits down on purpose, knowing I'll end up carrying him for the last part of our journey together. Even after being carried back inside the building, Onyx's curiosity never faded. As soon as I set him down in the hallway, he immediately lowered his nose to the floor and began sniffing every corner. To him, the adventure wasn't over yet. Every scent left behind by neighbors, visitors, or other pets was another mystery waiting to be solved. Even the familiar hallways of our building became part of his daily exploration. Before reaching home, there was one last challenge waiting for Onyx: the stairs. Climbing them has become part of our daily routine and a great way for him to stay active. Each step helps build strength, improves balance, and provides excellent physical exercise. Even after a long adventure outdoors, Onyx tackled the stairs with determination, proving he still had plenty of energy left for one final climb. Just when I thought our adventure was finally over, we walked into one last surprise waiting at home. The humans' favorite succulent plant had been completely destroyed. The evidence was impossible to ignore, and there was only one furry suspect. After everything we had experienced that morning, it looked like Onyx had saved his biggest adventure for last. The mystery wasn't where we had been. It was what had happened while no one was watching. Every walk with Onyx reminds me that adventure isn't measured by distance. It's measured by curiosity. Whether he's exploring the forest, meeting marmosets, investigating mysterious scents, or somehow finding trouble at home, every day brings a new story worth sharing. If you enjoyed joining us on today's adventure, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next journey with Black Cat Onyx. Who knows what he'll discover next?